Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our time together. I'm Lori Lamatia, and I'm here with Tricia Fiske.
Howdy.
Hey, everyone. And today we're going to talk about the work that we were doing last week around alchemizing how we feel about money and some of the energy beliefs that we might be holding that we don't necessarily want to continue holding and having as we move forward in our abundance journey. But it does take a little bit to, like we did last week, look at how we feel about money, look at how it makes us feel, and then pick one or two, but pick one that really sticks for you. And then today we're going to talk about an alchemizing process that will help you more consciously choose to let it go, release it, surrender any energies around it, and then replace it with something that you'd prefer. Tricia, how would you introduce today?
I would say that the alchemizing part is the part where you honestly look at how you unconsciously keep yourself stuck
Right.
and then set the intention to move and decide for yourself what actions you'll take to do that. At
Right.
the same time, surrendering, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Because our mind wants to fix again. And there is something about grace that wants to say, that doesn't fit. That's not a fit for who we are right now. So let's look at it and transform it. And sometimes alchemizing ceremonies are done with fire or some kind of transformative energy. You don't
Right.
necessarily have to do that. So could you speak a little bit about the way yogis kind of do an alchemy process or an alchemizing ceremony?
Well, I can speak specifically to a technique from the book The Four Desires, written by Rod Stryker, which is, and it's a tough one where you actually write your eulogy. Like,
Mm,
what if you were to pass away like right now and not fulfill all your dreams? What is it that what is it that which is the dream that would be the most painful for you to not have achieved? And
that
then
is a
you
powerful process.
right, and then you examine why you're stuck there. But, well, because the idea is that when we get stuck in certain behavior, even though we say it's not what we want, we're getting something from it.
Right. It's keeping us safe. It's keeping us right.
Right. So we need to look honestly at that in order to move past it. So
Right.
it's, yeah. So it's right. It's that really being willing to look at what am I getting out of my stuckness and or not moving or saying that all my relationships suck. What am I really getting out of that? Because we wouldn't keep doing something if we weren't getting something from it.
Right. And I'm going to use a specific example. And then I thought, well, let me go over the alchemizing process that we're going to talk about today. And then I'm going to give a specific example that came up this weekend that I'm like, wow. Um, and the alchemizing process that we have talked about, and we've got it in our conscious creating workbook that we did years ago. And I've also got it as chapter 4 in Effortless Wealth, the book I wrote. And it's an alchemizing process, which is acknowledging, the old scary agreement that you had about money. And it could be money only comes if you do something, that you don't love in order to make it happen, or it could be that everybody else can have money, but I can't because I don't deserve it. Or, it's really interesting how we have a thought about money, but then there's a real felt sense about, deserving or earning, or it's wrong to have money. There's all kinds of interesting things. As when we talked about this last week, especially for yogis, that you shouldn't ask for money for your services and all kinds of
Right.
things like that. So some kind of acknowledgement, and then that feeling that you have, it could be inadequacy, doubt, and then accepting that feeling, the feeling of, wow, that's how I feel, and you got to say it's not wrong, it just is. There's some release around the judgment, and then as you accept it, there's that release part. I'm going to let it go, and this is where you write it down, and you write how you felt. And we talked last week about journaling, but then actually maybe even taking that piece of paper and burning it, or giving it, or tearing it up, whatever it is, but some kind of symbolic releasing of the energy. And then as you're releasing, you thank it. You thank it for it being in your life. You thank it for showing you this and bringing you here, because a lot of our money beliefs have, they do keep us safe in some ways, other, but they've gotten us here. And that's all that matters, is we're here now, and then we're ready to replace it. And that's the fifth step, I guess, is the way you'd look at it. But what would you prefer to have it be instead? Um, and so those are the five steps: acknowledge it, accept it, release it, thank it, and then replace it. And I think the eulogy is a really great way to see it and acknowledge it and accept it while you're still alive. Yahoo, right?
Right.
While you
Right.
can do something about it. So, and the example I was going to give is this weekend. So I don't know, I bedazzle things. I love painting and creating. And so I had decided, oh, they're starting to pile up in my house. I've done art fairs and stuff. So I decided to sign up for a space at the Painted Tree over in
Oh.
Bloomingdale. I haven't told you this, so this is fresh, people. We're in fresh mode.
All right.
So I went over to the space over the weekend, and I got terrified. I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I spending my money this way? This is going to be so much work. It was so weird. And then I'm like, oh Lord, relax. It's okay. And so the feelings were feeling were that overwhelmment, and that kind of wastefulness around wasting money and wasting my time, which I thought was really interesting. And we got home, and I was like, okay, I can do this. And I started talking myself off the ledge. And then
Mhm.
I have a piece, it's like a little coffee table that I did. And I love it. I love it. I think it's really cute. I love the colors. I love everything about it. And so I asked my sister, who was here, and if she listens to this, thank you so much. I totally appreciate this. And she said, I go, so how much do you think I could charge for this? And she said, $85. And I was like, I was crestfallen, because I thought, at least over $200. I mean, for how much love and joy and energy and everything I put into it. And and it doesn't matter the number. I think what matters in this is the energy that I felt. That I felt so sad. I felt dumb for. I guess I shouldn't process it in the middle of this talk, but I felt dumb for feeling like I had created something that I thought was so valuable. And over the course of the weekend, I started to disvalue it. I started to feel like it's not beautiful, and it's just a thing. Um
Mhm.
and I think this is why I want to alchemize this, because I wanted this to be real for people to realize that, we can talk cerebrally about things, about money, but there are times when we come face to face with the things that really matter to us, and they're hard to see, and we don't know what to do with them, and we don't know, and so we stuff them. And I don't want
Right.
to stuff this, because these things that we do, these creations that we're doing together, our books, our arts, our yoga practice, whatever it is that we're doing to express our genuineness into the world, we need to value it. And there was something about putting a dollar amount on it. And there was something about putting, being, starting to devalue it because it didn't seem to be valuable. I don't know if I'm making any sense with all this, but I kind of felt, and I'm ready. I don't want to feel that the things that we do or the thing I do and create in the world should be devalued because, and sometimes putting a dollar value on it absolutely does that. And
Right.
so now what do I do with this, right? I've seen it, I feel it. Can I walk through the process? And I'm looking at the piece right now, and I've been trying to journey back to I love it, but I could feel myself start to not want to do anymore. And oh, that's a waste. And it's so weird. Um, I don't know. Do you have anything wise to say right now? Help me out of this. Um,
um, I guess what I'm hearing you say is the fact that you can't charge $200 for it took all the fun out of the creating of it and the beauty of looking at it and thinking it was so beautiful.
It did. It took it. It was the weirdest energetic deflation, and and I think it's around the money thing that if you can't value your value is my value is tied to money, and if I'm not making money, I'm not valuable, and that's the thing I
Right,
want to release, and that
right.
I don't want to really tie my value to money. Although I love money, I do, and somehow that's still stuck in me where the stuck is I can't value myself. And if I don't value, I can't figure it out fully.
Keep going, keep talking.
It's something around my valuing myself. And and money equals value. And if I'm not making money, I'm not valuable. And if I'm not making a lot of money, I'm not valuable.
Right. And
That's
if
what
it
I want to
isn't,
release because it's so not
if,
true. I know it's not true, but there's something stuck. There's a little girl or there's somebody that experienced that. And it's like, I'm going to charge forward and figure, and I'm going to ignore that. But whatever it
right,
is still there.
right. So I would assume from hearing this that at some point when you were a little kid drawing pictures and being, making stuff, you were told that it wasn't your art or your creativity wasn't important unless it made a lot of money.
Right. And then I stuffed it away and I went and got an engineering job. Now I'm coming back to it and I don't know what to do with it. um,
Well, well, you do know what to do with it, what you're planning to do with it, what you want to let go of is that belief that it's not valuable.
right. And that therefore I'm not valuable.
Right. Because you're not doing this bedazzling as a way to pay your mortgage.
No, I've
You're
already figured out how to do
right. You're doing it
that.
as a way really to have fun.
Yes. And I love it. And I have fun with doing
You,
it. I
right. You
do.
do. Yeah.
And it was just, and the weird thing is the things in life come, I know my soul brought me this. And I know there's a part of me that's like, just get a space. No big deal. I didn't even go and look at it. Because I know this was the gift inside of it. It was the release around value and my creations. And, if I'm not valuable until or if value is in and of itself it's a full statement. It doesn't need any if thens or therefores or untils.
Right. And your creations are, it's really in not so much about the money, but about the joy. I mean, I imagine if you were in that shop and people were coming in to look at your stuff and breaking out into smiles and enthusiasm and joy, that's payment. That's,
Yes, it
yeah,
is. It
that's
is.
payment for what you're making, not the $200 for the table.
Right.
Um, yeah,
So the thing I feel like I'm alchemizing is I'm alchemizing the connection that I've made between the money, receiving money, and my value. And I think the reason why that's important is as I alchemize that, I get to stay valuable no matter how much money I make, and I get to be independent because somehow those have been tied. And I think when you live an abundance life, you know your value, and money comes and goes, it flows, abundance comes and flows, it, and you can stay solid in who you are.
yes,
I think that's the gift of this for me right now is I'm alchemizing the whole transaction. And then if, because I've given tables away, I've traded chocolate
right,
for them. I've had a lot of fun. I love doing it. And as soon as I detangle my value, it becomes a grace place, and I just love doing it. But I was surprised at how that whole assignment of money devalued it and devalued my enjoyment of it. Was the weirdest
right, right,
spiral.
right. I'm sure you were given um, very wise, and I say that in parentheses, advice that it's not, your time isn't valuable unless it's making money. Like to just create something for the fun of creating it and then watching other people share in the fun of the creation was never how you were taught.
No, well, right. Time is
Right,
money, or
right,
whatever you want, all
right,
those things.
right.
Um,
So again, we're going back to this first chakra place of the family lessons that we were taught that we just accepted, and you're going back and breaking down some of those some of those old ancestral beliefs.
right. And the
My
second
guess,
chakra around the creation and money and abundance and flow, there's a clog there. And I have some clogging. I totally get that. Even though I have a lot of heart chakra work that I've done and throat chakra, like we're doing here, and third eye, I feel like we're in a flow mode right now, always. So I feel the abundance flowing, but yeah, the first, second, third chakra, those are still clearing out around this. And I think that's what alchemizing is seeing and then watching it and being okay to release it. I guess I was crying because tears are cleansing, and to not
definitely,
not
definitely,
hold it
definitely.
back. Um, so
Yes, and even, just the willingness to step into it and acknowledge it too, that that's how you felt, and that the fact that it took you by surprise implies that, right, that it's something deep buried in there that you've not brought out into the light to look at before.
yeah, not in that specific way. And like we were talking about last week, not from where I am now. I did it like 10 years ago, and so I thought I was done with it. And then it came back out, which was fascinating. And I'm very grateful for it. And here's the thing, so here we are, we're going through the process. I'm grateful for it. I'm very thankful that it came up. I appreciate it very much that I had this experience, that I saw it, and I get to replace it with, a separation of my value from money, that my value in and of itself is a complete statement. It doesn't need to be transactional with anything that I do or be or
Right,
have.
right,
And that feels really um like freeing or true. It feels true.
right. Yeah, not all. uncovering this stuff doesn't always feel great.
No, right.
Right. Doesn't, yeah. I mean, that's truth. It's like the, writing the eulogy thing. It doesn't feel good to do that and realize while you're writing it that there's something you've always wanted that you're never going to experience. But I think that's the point of it, is how do I release, choose, how do I choose something joyful over pain? Like how do I actually do that? Because again, if we keep going back to, like, the pain is taught for protection. So if how do we learn that we don't need to protect ourselves all the time, that we can just experience the joy? And remember, joy was the word we chose for the year too.
Right.
So
Yes.
you're being given a direct example of seeing where you bury your joy in order to protect yourself.
Right. And bury
And
my joy,
right,
the joy of doing my creations around
right,
money, you
right,
know?
because they're not valuable enough.
Right. And therefore I'm not valuable enough. And yeah, blah, 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 blah.
Right,
It's
right.
yeah, it's really, and when, and I do, and this is where I was feeling the download of grace. As we were talking, I was feeling that there's so much love always all around us. And we are love. Our energetic composition is love. And our value is never in doubt. It's just us that puts it in doubt. And then the world, we interact in the world around us, and then we start to doubt. And then we get
Right.
like, oh, I guess I'm not all that, or whatever what it is. And as you were talking, I was like, boy, let the download of grace and joy and truth around your value seep in, and let that be the truth going forward.
I'm going to go back to Anatomy of the Spirit by Carolyn Meese, and this is second chakra, the power of choice. The energy of the second chakra helps us evolve beyond the collective energy of the tribe. Choice is born out of opposites. And the duality of the second chakra is forever challenging us to make choices in a world of opposing sides, of positive and negative energy patterns. Managing the power of choice with all its creative and spiritual implications is the essence of the human experience. So, for as bad as this made you feel, it is, you are directly facing duality
Right.
and making a choice for yourself what you're going to go with.
Right. And it's funny because I even have a choice. Do I try and get out of this space at Painted Tree? And been going back and forth about it. And I'm like, I still am trying to see what I choose. And I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, just do it, Lori. Stop. Don't be so um afraid. But then there's this other part of me that's like, well, am I afraid? So, it led me to another choice point around, and then, the choice is, can I enjoy it? Can I do it with joy? Can I find
Right,
joy in there's something else about, like you said, putting those out there so that they can be enjoyed by other people. And maybe that's it. They walk by and they see a little dazzly something, and it gives them a smile. What if I just
right.
assumed that's all that it was? And I made a Picasso, they walk by it. It costs some money for me to have the Picasso sitting there, but oh well, at least that's my intent, is that they get to enjoy it. Then I could
And
go forward with it.
right. So here again, it's not what we choose that matters. Our power to influence an outcome lies in our reasons for making a certain choice. So if your reason for having your stuff there is to see people smile and make them happy, then do it.
Right. Yeah. Assign the reason. Yes.
Right.
I choose the reason. I'm the creator. I choose the reason. I'm not the
Yes.
victim of, well, we'll see what, and then if somebody tells me it's nice, then I feel good. And if somebody doesn't like it, then I feel bad.
Then right,
Right.
right.
No, I choose the reason. And my reason uh, is I'm going to put energy of joy into the space and let the space and the joy be the reason, period.
And then how does that feel?
That feels really good. I think the piece that still feels like it's missing is the money in some ways, to be honest. I don't, I think this is what every yoga teacher, every person who's doing service struggles with a little bit. And um is, do I let whatever money come in? Be good. That's great. That's what I got to do. I got to assign, if somebody buys something, they bought it because they felt enjoyment. And it doesn't, in the, it's the energy exchange that matters. Because I was thinking about before we started this, I was like, well, how do I feel about money? I think it's one of the coolest things we ever invented. I think as a human society, it's brilliant, right? Because I don't have to take a chicken to a market to get vegetables or whatever. The whole barter system has been totally elevated with a system that really creates a tremendous amount of flow. So I think it's a pretty cool invention, and it lets me do my thing and it lets other people do their thing in a really free way. So to be honest, I love money. I love the idea of how to, communicate with or not communicate, transact because of it. So yeah, if
Mm-hmm.
I make some money, so what? But Mark was doing the whole analysis. Well, it's going to cost this many, so you're going to have to sell this many just to break even. And I was like, oh, stop it. I just want to be the energy flow, you know. I I guess I need to spend a little bit more time around choosing the energy intention that I'm going to put behind it.
Right, right. If you're going to do it, why are you going to do it? And what do you really, if money isn't the thing, if money isn't the main reason to do it, what is? And if money is the main reason to do it, then you've just discovered that it's not practical because you're not going to get rich from doing it. So, yeah,
Wait, but maybe I should. Maybe I could clear, cancel, delete that and say, I don't know how I don't know. I don't
right.
know how it could facilitate because my soul said, I had an urge to do it. And this is part of the journey, right? Follow the urge. And then,
Yeah,
yeah, you trip yourself and you're, okay, do I just turn the faucet off or do I keep moving forward? Do I have an urge to write a book and then trip because I find out, oh, I don't really know what I think I know. Or, I mean, there's only a million ways we trip ourselves up in our own minds.
right, right. So yeah, what's your reason for doing this? Choose your reason
I will. And I choose
for
to put them
being
there
there.
for, and I'm hoping that somebody sees it and goes, oh, could you make me one? That would be great. That would be very fun, is
Right,
doing some commission work or whatever.
right. I mean, what happens if you put that stuff there and it sells out
Right.
instantly?
Right.
And then,
And then I just have a big sign that says, coming soon, call me for if you want me to do one for you, or just put
right,
pictures up. Yeah.
right, right.
Here's pictures of
Yeah,
what you could have had, but now ask me to do one for you and I'll be happy to do it. So thank you. I appreciate it. I feel much better. I feel clearer. I do feel freer. And I am going to go forward and I am going to imbue it with the joy and the abundance that I feel when I do those pieces. And I'm certainly not going to let myself beat myself up like I was. Because I was working on one in the basement and I'm like, oh, forget it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm like, oh my gosh, Lori, that's so cruel. It's so fascinating how we can be so cruel to ourselves around our joys. I just
Yes,
I'm
yes,
just fascinated by it. But and it doesn't mean I'm not going to, but at least I'm conscious of it now, and I'm going to be much more conscious of it going forward. And I
right.
think that's the grace of alchemy too, is once we are willing to look at something, it it can free us to the next level, whatever it is.
Whatever it is, right. It frees us from that. And who knows what the next thing will be
You
because
don't, right?
yeah, we don't, right. And yeah, and that's important. One of the things I've been reminding myself as well is that often there's steps arising before we get to the
Right.
place that we're going to. It doesn't always happen like that. Like I've
No.
been was thinking about how to get to be a yoga teacher. Like I didn't start out with that at all. I started out as a personal trainer working in gyms like at the YMCA, and that was enough, that was fine. And then I wanted to teach classes, and then I didn't like it because it was always harder, harder, faster, faster. It's like push. Now you got to, now you can run up 50 steps. Now you got to run up 150 steps, stuff like
Right.
that.
Right.
And I learned something called NIA, which is neuromuscular integrative action, which was kinesthetic dance movement, which was so much fun. And my teacher in that told me I didn't know how to breathe. And she said, you really ought to take a yoga class and you
Mm.
would
Mhm.
learn how to learn how to breathe. And so that's the only reason I ever took my first yoga class, was to learn how to breathe and make my teacher happy. And then that was it. I fell in love with yoga and stopped doing all the other stuff. But it was steps to
Right. The
get to
journey.
that. Yeah, to get to that real joy that I discovered when I started doing yoga. um, so I didn't know the where where it was going to go, but I allowed myself to get started and follow the steps. So you don't know the end result of where this will go, but you're allowing yourself to use that creative part of yourself and play, originally now maybe to start just to make people happy and see the smiles on their face, but you never know where that can go.
Right.
You
And
right
right. And that's
yeah.
part of the joy journey too. And then you get you get maybe clogged by a little bit of a fear. And then you go, hey, oh, I see. You do a little alchemizing, you do a little crying, you do a little talking to one of your best friends, and then you forge forward, and you get the space and you shut the all the doubts off that are going, hey, that's dumb, and hey, that what are you gonna do, and oh my God, all the work, and just say, yeah, 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 thank you, but you know I,
Right,
I'm gonna do the joy part. I'm gonna focus on the joy part, the part that really moves me and was what moved me in the first place, and let
right,
it. And you never know, like you said, you're a master yogi and you teach so many beautiful classes, and it's been a great gift to all of us. And if you didn't follow that, we wouldn't be here and all the people wouldn't be enjoying. So I'm following it, and we're following it together by doing these podcasts, and I'm grateful for that. The
right,
journey. I don't, it, and I'm trusting that there's a higher wisdom and there's a great, a beautiful something all along the way and at the end, whatever end means. I have no idea,
right. Well,
truly.
right, you're right. And allow yourself to just be curious to what happens. I mean, long is the contract? How long are you committed to do
It's a
this that you're
year,
doing?
so I'm going to
Okay.
learn a lot. I'm going to learn a lot,
You are. You are going to
and
learn a lot.
and that was the other thing. I'm like, teach yourself this, Lori. Teach yourself this. So I guess that's the other thing. There's life after alchemy, right? Life
Yeah.
after the writing of the eulogy. Now you have information. You have what a new layer of wisdom, and you have a new choice point, and the choice of abundance and joy and honoring of self is probably the most generous thing that comes out of any alchemizing, especially around money. I think money can make us feel less than sometimes. And that as we alchemize that, to realize no, money's just a neutral. Money is just a medium of exchange. Everything else is what we assign to it. And if we assigned it, we can unassign it. And we can reassign it too.
Right. Correct. Yes. If you
So
do that, right. Yes.
finish your thought,
Good.
please. If you do
Yeah.
the
And if you do this, I would guess by the end of the year, the road, the path forward will be so much clearer to you than it is right now, because you'll have moved past that old limiting belief. You're doing it for the joy of it. And who knows what you'll see and experience as part of that process. You could get a commission by some super wealthy person who wants you to come into their house and do something custom made and pay you a fortune for it. I mean, you
right.
just, right.
You never know. I mean, look
You,
at Leonardo. He was on the top of the Sistine Chapel, upside down, painting and painting.
right.
It,
Yes.
I, yes, but who knows? It doesn't matter.
Right.
Right now,
Right.
it's the journey. Put
It
one foot
is.
in
Right.
front of the other. I always think about the Yellow Brick Road. I think the Wizard of Oz was such a brilliant movie because it's like you'd start out and you put one foot in front of the other and you follow the Yellow Brick Road. And following the Yellow Brick Road is following your joy, like you did. I started out in Nia, and they told me about breathe. I needed to breathe, and I went to yoga. That's the Yellow Brick Road of your yoga journey.
Hmm.
It truly is. And of course, there's little monkeys and things along the way that it's our
Right.
minds that are going,
Right.
but Lori, you're not valuable. That's not worth it. Thank you. And I'm going to keep on my Yellow Brick Road.
Right. Right. Well, one of my friends, one of my first teachers reminded me that I didn't think I would ever be a very good yoga teacher because I wasn't flexible enough. And
Ah,
that all the yoga
yes.
teachers I saw could do all this
Right. All
crazy stuff.
the
And
all the party
right. And
tricks.
I I never could do that because I was more stronger than I was flexible.
Mhm.
Um, but that strength enabled me to persevere with this for a very long time. Yeah.
Mhm.
It gave
So,
you the strength to do it and not get injured. Right.
yes, and thank you for following because I totally appreciated you all these years. So I'm glad you didn't give up because you weren't flexible enough. Right? So thank you everyone for being here, and hopefully you are feeling the power of alchemizing and the energy that goes into it, of awareness and seeing it, and then allowing yourself to accept it, and then release it and thank it, whatever it is. And then of course the end is that you get to have the freedom to choose anew, and that is where our real empowerment lies, is we get to imbue the energies of our lives, of the things we love in our lives, with what we choose. Thanks for being here, everyone. Have a great week.
Thank you. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.